walk in the park. That's how I literally came across this story. Bushnell Park is a well-known park located downtown in the heart of Hartford, Connecticut. It's used like any other park. Shortcuts, exercise, public events that take place all year round. But come to find out, this is not your regular park. Every Wednesday night, Joe the Barber sets up a folding chair, clippers connected to a car battery. A small section of this park is turned into a barbershop for the homeless, and food is handed out as well.
I'm living on somebody else's time clock. Time waits for no man, but I'm wishing I could hold up for just 1 minute and make time stop. Rewind the tape. Go back a few years to the day I went MIA and had my mama in tears. Now my stomach's growling. That's a feeling I'll never get used to. I know where I can get a hot meal. It's on you, if you choose to. What I wouldn't give for my own warm bed and some soft sheets. I never thought I'd get accustomed to being on these hard streets. I'm grateful, though, for those who help me care for my physical, although there are still some people who seem to think I'm invisible.
Ridley Pearson wrote this book, Chain of Evidence, and it was a murder mystery, took place in Hartford. And there was a write-up in the Current, and when I read the write-up about this, it said Stonington Street and Dutch Point, where no white man in his right mind would be caught dead after dark. And I was just there the night before, alone. Arthur, there you go. All right.
When I first came across this opportunity to make this into a film was a blessing. I had no idea Joe was cutting here in this park. A lot of people had no idea. And to get the mayor involved, it was truly a blessing. Just the fact that I had the opportunity to work at City Hall part-time, seen the mayor a few times, and told the mayor, I have a guy who cuts here in the park. He's heard of Joe. Most people haven't heard of Joe. And it was really, truly a testament of giving back. And this is what this film is about. It's about challenging everybody to give back. If this guy can sit out here and cut here every Wednesday night, other than January to March, which is too cold, I mean, we could all go in our closets, go in our pantries, grab food, grab, clothes, and give back. And this is what this film is about, challenging all of us to give back. So in 1988, Joe started volunteering at Immaculate Conception Shelter. He would ride with the outreach workers, driving the overflow to other shelters where there was room. Then one day he joked with one of the regulars. Not only are you a bum, you look like a bum. How about I bring in my clippers? And that's how it all started. A Hug for a Haircut movement was born.
Joe started here, and that was before I came. So he's been doing this 20-something years here. So he's been doing it the 13 years that I've been here. Right. And every night, Joe is here, and sometimes we have to run Joe out. He stays so late. The shelter started back in '87, I think it was, when one of the priests found a gentleman froze to death outside the shelter, and from that day on, he said that would never happen again, and he turned the basement here into a shelter with only volunteers. Since then, the shelter has grown. It's become 100 and something men a night now.
What's the age limit?
The men now are younger and younger. They're coming from all over. It's all walks of life here. We have people that just fell on hard times. We have plumbers, doctors, lawyers, you name it. They're here. It's been a interesting experience for me.
Historically, the response to homelessness has been primarily reactive, sheltering individuals and families only after they become homeless. However, new homelessness prevention programs acknowledge the housing affordability problems and aim to keep people in their homes with temporary financial assistance. You can find lines such as this one every Wednesday night when Joe the Barber is cutting hair. a free haircut, and a free meal. The shelters in Hartford originally started with one horrific story. It was a bitter cold morning in 1981, and a priest at the Immaculate Conception Shelter on the corner of Park and Hungerford Street discovered a homeless man frozen to death on the church steps. Vowing that such a tragedy would never happen again, the basement of the church was converted into a shelter for homeless men who had no other place to go, and church members volunteered cooking meals and donated clothing to these men.
This is our transitional program. We have 33 cubicles up here. We have guys who can stay up here up to 2 years. A third of these folks up here now, a third of the gentlemen up here are veterans, have served our nation, and have found themselves homeless for one reason or another, and now currently are getting back on their feet. We have a veteran drop-in center we do once a week, every Thursday, from 1 to 3. We have service officers, veterans that come in to volunteer for us, that work with the vets that are currently here. And our goal there is to get them hooked up to VA healthcare or benefits that we have currently now through the VA, and find out what their needs are. We really need more affordable housing, and we need better paying jobs. And if we had that, we'd have half the homelessness we have currently. The shelter's full every single night. We turned away 211 people last month, 300 or so the month
200
before.
and how many?
211.
11 people.
And that was a good month. Because back in July we had about 400 we turned away. So there is that many more people. They're actually looking for shelter. We don't have enough shelter beds. We really don't. And people are finding other places to stay. Staying in their car, staying in their friend's apartment, on the couch, in the basement. Parks, under the bridges. We do a street outreach every week. We're out there on the street, and looking for folks that are looking for help, or maybe looking for help down the line. The issue there is being consistent. Like Joe the barber, he's consistent. He's going to be there when he says he's going to be there, and the guy's going to be there to get their haircut.
Definitely.
And that's a level of trust you have to have with people. And to tell them that you're there for them, and you better be there if you say so.
I used to cut hair in the Y.
What made you transition to the park?
Why did I go to the park?
Yeah.
Well, because I had nothing to plug into. And the guy said, oh, we know where there's electricity, and it was in the carousel.
And how long you been with Joe the barber?
24 years.
Okay. Do you remember your first haircut?
Yep.
Yeah?
Immaculate Conception.
From the shelter?
On Park Street.
Okay. Share a few words about...
Excuse me.
Share a few words about Joe the barber.
He's a very good person. And he's always on time for when people that are less fortunate to pay for a haircut.
If it weren't for Joe, it wouldn't be. The park wouldn't be pleasant.
How long have you been coming here to get a haircut?
Over a year.
Over a year? And what do you take away from this experience?
What do I take away from this experience? I wouldn't take anything away from it.
No, as far as what have you learned from it?
Oh, what I've learned from it?
Yeah.
It teaches to respect. I still have the picture from when he came from the current.
Oh, right.
I still have the current
Can I see that?
article on him.
You've been coming here for a year?
The picture is starting to fade a little bit. And here's one of the other regulars. And
You still carry that picture around with you, huh?
I carry it around.
Let me see the picture again.
That's this one here.
That's a nice shot of it. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Got that one?
It looks like it was the fall time.
No, it's April. It's April 8th. As a matter of fact.
That's you?
That's me.
Wow. And how long have you been carrying this paper with you?
I have been carrying this paper since it came out.
How long ago was that?
Since April the 8th.
I think that this is absolutely wonderful that someone would take their time to come out and to do something for free out of their free time.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
Rain, yes.
It's a
exactly.
huge thing. I'll even throw this out there. I work as a nurse with a lot of the homeless population, and I think they are a very underserved population, and I think it's a wonderful thing that he's doing for them.
Definitely.
I think it's amazing. I think it's really nice that, to see a neighbor helping another neighbor. I think he's doing a great job. Honestly, I feel like if this happened more, if more people kind of just helped each other out, it would just be so much better. Just the world, just life, just Harvard, just everything on a really big scale.
He brings food as well.
Yeah, I commend him. That's amazing. So, and you said he has a shop here in Hartford?
No, he doesn't have a shop.
Not at all. So
he's retired. He's 80 years old. He takes care of his 96-year-old sister and 98-year-old brother-in-law. He's hair cutting here. This is what he does. He does lots of other things too, but right now he does this for a long time.
I think this is awesome. Like, my focus with what I've been trying to do has been focused on community and public health.
Right.
So seeing someone actually in the community and doing work definitely ties into the importance of everyone kind of stepping up and doing their part, whatever your strength is.
Right.
So I could definitely appreciate somebody doing this. I think I'm going to go shake his hand just because I think
that'd be nice.
That's awesome.
Hey, hi, I'm Robin. Joe the barber is one of our best guys out here. He takes care of us very well. The experiences of life with Joe is the best thing ever. We know where we can come and get our hair cut, and it's services to all, for the homeless and the needy. It's the best thing that we can do in life. Joe, he's the greatest. We can't ask for a better person in life that God sent us, a beautiful angel.
It doesn't matter what style, doesn't matter what culture, he have that natural touch. He does fine work. I'll vouch for him anytime. 7 years. And right about now, he's about to take 2 inches off this young lady's hair. All right? And she will be impressed.
My sister used to do it. She always just trying to cut off like this.
She haven't missed anything.
No, he's cutting off the white one.
So Joe cut anybody's hair.
The Harlem Shake.
He is most recognized as Joe the Barber, who gives free haircuts for the homeless in Bushnell Park. But a lot of people don't know, even after the park on the same night, he goes down to convalescent homes and also does the same. And he regularly loads up his van at Food Share. So quick to tell you, he gets 2,800 pounds of stuff in there. No wonder he has problems with his springs. What are we doing today? Where are you going?
What are we doing today?
Yeah, what are we doing today?
Today,
of the many things we do, or you do, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to the Red Cross in Farmington, where they have their phoresis department, and I'm gonna give them a couple of doses, double doses of my platelets, and which I've been doing since 1980.
Wow!
So that's already 32 years.
Wow!
I said the very first movie I saw here was Breaking Away, and that was 32 years ago.
32 years
it
ago,
has
wow.
been that long. So that movie has got to be 32 years old, too.
Do you want the heating pad on?
I can't hear you.
I know you can. Do you want the heating pad on?
Yeah, please.
Do you want a blanket?
Yeah, probably.
Tums?
Tums?
Yes.
Get free?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Spoiled, and every right to be. He was very surprised by the language selection of the film 40-Year-Old Virgin, but still laughed at just about everything.
Squeeze. 2 platelets in 1 class. Relax.
One of the first awards I got was from the Archer Memorial AME Zion Church. Can you imagine that? It was their Community Service Award. But before that, I got J.C. Penney. This was at the shelter. I got the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Award, and I remember when they came and told me that they were putting me in for this thing, and I said no. I don't. Come on, I'll have the Board of Health here. I'll have the whatever. I said I'm not a barber.
Yeah.
Barbers Union will be putting a hitman out after me.
Yeah.
And I said, besides, I said I didn't think there was. I don't think that when Jesus was washing feet that CNN was there. You know?
Yeah.
When I first started at Immaculate, everybody told me, you gotta meet Joe the Barber, you gotta meet Joe the Barber. But the catch is, his name isn't Joe. And I said, okay, so tell me about him, who is he? His name is Anthony. And you know, Joe gives haircuts to our guys, as we like to say. And what's really important about that is Joe helps them feel like men again.
This particular acknowledgement was for donors to the Cassidy DeFrancisco building that gives people the opportunity to rent their own apartment after leaving the shelters.
He treats people as an equal, and in turn they respond. There have been inmates who have come out of prison and come for regular haircut for Joe the Barber. Right. You don't see this happen. People forget about people. Life is fragile. People move on, but Joe the Barber's a constant.
Joe gives them haircuts, he shaves them, he makes them feel like men and cleaned up. And, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. These are men who sleep in a barrack-style shelter each night. They don't necessarily have a consistent place to shower. They don't know where they're going to sleep and get their meals. But you know what? Once a week, they knew once a month, they knew where to find Joe, and that he would help them feel like a man, even if it's just for that 20-minute haircut and a shave. And that in itself is priceless.
I know Joe for about 20 years. He's absolutely a blessing on for the shelter.
Don't you feel great? And I did. Just being out there and seeing it made you feel good. As one of the guys told me later, he lifts you up. Joe, the fact is, you lift us all up. So please, join me on stage.
I asked Joe, what is your favorite type of music? He responded, big band. So I went out and got a dance duo to perform a few songs. I did not know he would be dancing as well.
Anybody who knows Joe the Barber, as we know him and we love him, words can't describe what this guy's done for the city of Hartford and the people in the shelter and people in general. I don't know who the original culprit was that asked him to get back in line. It could have been me, it could have been somebody else, but I remember him coming with some bags and he had his cutting equipment in there, but I thought he was somebody coming into the shelter. He's our version of Mother Teresa. You know, I think we're all familiar with Mother Teresa and what she's done, and people like that in the globe, you know, all over the globe are Mahatma Gandhi, and that's our Mahatma Gandhi here. You know, the guy's an incredible human being. He's one of the most special people I've ever met in my life. And I love him dearly like a lot of people do. When you look around, and there's not a person in this place right now that probably hasn't been touched by Joe at some point in time in their life. You know, and Joe, I love you and I thank you, and I hope you have 100 more years of life. You know, you're a beautiful human being.
Thank you. It was an honor and pleasure to come open this event, especially considering our band's only been together for 6 weeks. Wow. And we heard about this last Wednesday. I'm a minister down in Lisbon, and I thought, what a ministry this man has to give to the city, to the people. What better thing can we do? Because in an age, especially in the economy we're in and the times we're in, when people start thinking about themselves, Joe keeps thinking about everybody else.
Well, good evening, everybody. And it's great for all of you to be here. You know, Joe, there's a part of my job that's difficult, but this one is the fun part of my job. This is the part where I don't feel alone. The part where I feel that no matter how hard things get in our city, that there's still angels, right? Angels such as yourself. We in government can only do so much, but what gives me hope is that we have people such as yourself who give to other people without letting the outward appearances get in the way of loving them and being very compassionate persons. So I wanted to come here and thank you, but also I wanted to give you this proclamation on behalf of our office, on behalf of the City Council, but more importantly on behalf of the residents and the citizens of the City of Hartford. And it reads as follows. Whereas Anthony Samaras has willingly devoted countless hours to the Hartford community homeless shelters and convalescent homes since 1988 by means of personal hair care services. Whereas Mr. Samaras tirelessly dispenses free meals each Wednesdays to anyone in need at Hartford, Connecticut's Bushnell Park as he cuts hair for the homeless for a period of more than 7 years. And whereas the City of Hartford continues to benefit from the personal interest and Hartford concern that Mr. Samaras displays by his servitude to the financially displaced individual. And whereas Mr. Samaras is 81 years of age and continues to maintain his intensity as an advocate for the homeless and his wholehearted dedication to the Hartford community. Now, therefore, be it resolved, and before I get to that, the honorable thing is that while he does all this, he also helps care for his older siblings. Mm-hmm. So he loves you, but he also takes care of business at home. So that's honorable. So I, Pedro Segarra, Mayor of the City of Hartford, along with the Court of Common Council and the residents of Hartford, do hereby proclaim the 25th day of July 2012 as Anthony Joe the Barber Samaras Day in the City of Hartford. Woo!
I thought when I heard I was getting a citation, I thought it was going to be, get the heck out of the park. Well, that's not so funny. But, you know, what I want to get back to is when he introduced me, he talked about how my first day at the shelter, that I had volunteered with the Red Cross, and it was in the middle of winter, it was freezing cold, I had on a old down jacket that I burned a hole in the sleeve with my snowblower, and I was leaving feathers all over the place. And that's when I finally got to the shelter and I went to go in, there was a great big black guy named Gregory with his clipboard and 4 or 5 people waiting to go in and walk past everybody. That's when he looked at me and he said, "Get back in line." So if I ever wrote a book, it was going to be Get Back in Line. But you know what, Joe? And you know how there's the Aurora Borealis and there's an Oldsmobile Aurora? He says to me, "You know what, Joe? You have an Aurora." And I says, "No, I don't, Eddie. I just got a new Hyundai Accent." And you know what's funny? I gave these 2 guys their haircuts, And when we got through, we left, and now it's dark. Nobody allowed in the park, and I have to walk through the park to get to my car. And they hadn't had anything to eat, so I was going to feed them. So we're crossing the street to go into the park, and I said, Eddie, is it safe for us to walk through this park? And Eddie says, of course it's safe for us to walk through this park. We're the muggers. So as we're walking through the park, Eddie tells me how when he was in the Bronx or in wherever in New York, he said one day he grabbed this lady's pocketbook and he said she cried so hard that it was all the money she had in the whole world and she wasn't going to be able to get back to her kids. He said, I gave her back the darn pocketbook and I never ever did that again. You know, and then we went to my car and I fed him and I gave him a ride back to the thing. And to make a longer story short, I told this really fundamentalist friend of mine this story. And she didn't laugh at my Aurora. And she didn't laugh at we're the muggers. And when I got through, she says, I hope you told him about Jesus. And I said, Thelma, I didn't have to tell him about Jesus. He told me about Jesus. And that's really the way it is. These guys, I mean, you want to meet Jesus, come to my barber shop. Really.
Hi, my name is Osvaldo Alvarado. I live in Buckingham Street, Hartford, Connecticut. Joe, this is the best ever guy I ever see on planet Earth. And God bless him. And I'm calling young man because he's a strong guy.
I've known him for like a couple years. He's really nice to everybody. He's really, you know, not only cuts hair really good, but he's very good at like life experience and advice and all that. So I like him a lot.
We're at Tom's wonderful restaurant in the Windsor Center.
This is every Thursday thing, right?
Every Thursday morning, after we go to Mass, we come here for breakfast. And about half of us are here right now. And first of all, we have Mr. Joe Fandel.
Good morning.
He's my rich friend that came from Fairfield County.
Fairfield County. Gold Coast. It's good to have rich friends.
Yes, I do. And then Walt Shapansky, who runs the church, he's like everything. He's the glamorized altar boy and
assistant pastor.
Give you your blessing. Yes, give us our blessing. And then we have, introduce yourself.
Yeah, you don't remember my last name.
I don't remember it.
Fred Gauthier.
Say it one more time.
Fred Gauthier.
He's really Fred too, because we used to have another Fred.
Yeah.
Who I have to find out what happened to Fred.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
Fred Gauthier, who was your lifetime practically in Windsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, has lived here. I was born here, so I've been here all my life.
This is the thing that the women come to see. My eyebrows. This is what all beautiful women come to see.
The eyebrows.
This is what they put their fingers through.
The eyebrows.
This is what makes the man.
JV.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Hartford, Connecticut. It's my first film.
The first film?
First film, Joe the Barber. My first film, Ordinary Hero.
All right.
Pretty much, I started learning how to do film being incarcerated. I read and wrote a few scripts and read a lot about cinematography and stuff like that.
Is that your interest?
Yes, absolutely. Interest is writing and shooting movies.
Okay. So now tell us about this new short that you have coming out.
Two Candles Please is basically a love story between a father and two sons. You don't always have to have a male and a female for a love story. Pretty much you have a prodigal son and you have the negative son. And the father is in love with both of them, but he's trying his hardest to keep the prodigal son away from the negative influence. It's called Two Candles Please because it's a reason behind these two candles.
Okay. Now, there's apparently a new film that you're doing for the film festival that's coming out in June.
It's coming out this summer. The film festival will be out this summer, but we're shooting for July, August, September dates.
All right. And where's this film festival going to be?
The first one that we've already been committed and also submitted to is the Wadsworth Museum, downtown Hartford, September 28th, I believe. And the other ones will be the surrounding counties of Connecticut.
Okay. And now apparently there's this movie you just did about Joe the Barber. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, Joe the Barber really just happened like a walk in the park. Like I tell everybody, I was coming from a meeting about a budget for another film. That budget didn't come through, but a blessing did come through with this walk in the park. Joe the Barber, he cuts hair in Bushnell Park every Wednesday night. The only time he's not cutting hair is between January and March because it's too cold for him. He goes to Florida, but this is my first film, and this film is about giving back. That's what it's about. He cuts hair, giving back to the community, and this film is challenging all of us to give it back in that type of way.
Okay, so this is your future now.
Oh, absolutely. This is definitely my future. I have some scripts coming up, some more projects coming up. Stay tuned. JV Harvey Film /TV will be on your airwaves and TV shows.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity for the interview.
You're welcome.
All right.
Great.